I'm going to show you the hidden volume strategy that made millions of dollars. It made Paul 750 grand in 3 years, Mark 200K in 7 months, John 100 grand in 4 months, Zach 100 grand in 2 months, Jason 39K, Chris 54K in 1 week. I can keep going. And it allowed me to catch the exact bottom on SPY about a few months ago. You can see April 7th I got in. I'm still up about 200% on these options. I called it on Twitter as well. And that's the exact bottom right here, April 7th of this market crash. And it's still going strong. I'm going to show you this exact method on the 5-minute chart so you can scalp this every single day. So you can catch bottoms and tops. Let's dive in. Okay, now before I show you this on a 5-minute chart, I just need to show you how well this works on a daily chart because you're going to be super surprised, and I'll show you exactly how this volume method works. Now, if I zoom out on SPY on a weekly chart here, actually we'll even go to a monthly. No, we'll keep on a weekly. What do you notice here about the volume? And when I say volume, I'm only looking at these volume bars down here, not volume profile, nothing else. Okay, simply looking at the volume bars down here. And what you'll notice is that every time there's a huge spike in volume, in fact, I can just draw it out for you. Right here, you can see we get a huge spike. Okay, right here, you can see we get a huge spike. You can see right around here, we get a huge spike. The most recent one we had right around here, huge spike. And again, I'm just drawing these big spikes based on the idea of that recent and relative volume. So if you look at these spikes, you can see this is a huge spike compared to the past year. This is obviously a huge spike compared to the past year. This one's very big. This one's very big. You just see relative big volume spikes. And what do you notice? All of these are exact bottoms of the market. You can see right here we bottomed. Right here we had a short-term bottom. Here we bottomed. Here, again, the most recent one, nice bottom. Here, right bottom. So what do we know? This tells us, and again, it will apply to a 5-minute chart. I'll show you that in just a second here. All of this applies because when we see increased volume, it indicates a potential reversal. Not 100% of the time. I'm going to show you exactly how to know when it's not a reversal versus where it is. But increased volume equals a potential reversal. That's extremely important to know. And you don't need some crazy indicator. You don't need magic like math. You simply just look at your chart and figure out where do we see a very high volume bar compared to the most recent previous 10, 15, or 20 candles. And you'll be able to notice a very crazy pattern. So let me go ahead and dive into a 5-minute chart, show you some examples of how you can scalp this every day to catch these tops and bottoms. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Apple. We're going to go ahead and switch over to a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay, you can see I have no other indicators on my chart, nothing else needed. Now, when I'm looking at this chart, you want to kind of disregard right at the market open or right at the market close, okay? These are always going to have high volume. You can see right here at 9:30, we get that huge volume spike right at open. Same thing right at close. We always get that. So you don't really want to pay attention to that. What you do want to pay attention to is kind of like that midday lull, kind of like after the first 30 minutes, after the first hour of the market being open. You want to see if there's any big volume spikes. Like again, if we look at this day here on Apple, really from about 12 p.m. to pretty much towards the close, we don't see any crazy action. You can see the volume bars are kind of around the same height. Nothing really too crazy at all. Now, if I were to go to yesterday's price action and zoom in here for you, you can see the volume bars down here. What do you notice? Now, aside from, again, right at the market open, the first 15 minutes, all the volume is kind of around the same general area. I can even draw a chart like this and kind of show you that it's around this general area. However, right around here at 10:30, what do we notice? We see a huge volume spike. Okay, you can see this volume candle is higher than anything we've seen in the past hour or so. And obviously the rest of the day, we don't see anything compared to that. Now that tells us on this candle right here, we have a lot of increased volume, which again, what do we know? Increased volume means a potential for a reversal. Now, there's not a guarantee. I'll show you that in a second. But this one, what do we notice? Okay, we top out right here. We have maybe an extra 3 cents on the next candle where we start to move a little bit higher, but then we dump down from here. Now, the crazy part is on the options market, this type of move, especially trading 0 TDs, would have been honestly a 50% gain, maybe even more, which is insane. Now, if you're trading 1 week, in the money options, you still would have made a solid 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30% gain on this move, which is very, very good. This is a scalping 5-minute strategy. So, okay, what's the actual strategy? Let me get into it. Okay, so you pick a few stocks. I'll show you how to find those. You go ahead and you wait when you see a big volume spike on the 5-minute chart. What do we see right here? A big volume spike. We see a huge move up on the 5-minute chart. It doesn't matter if it's green, doesn't matter if it's red, okay? Now, what you have to do is wait until the next 5-minute candle closes, okay? So this is important, but what's really important is this candle right here, okay? That's kind of going to be your sign to understand if this is going to be a reversal or not. And what do we see happen? We see a red candle form, okay? Now, the very easy way to determine if there's going to be a reversal is to wait for the next 5 minutes, and if price just keeps pushing up, it's not going to be a reversal. You don't want to take the trade. But if we start to see a doji form, if we see an engulfing candlestick form, if price starts to reverse, we see a red candle form, that is a sign of a potential reversal. And when that happens, all you want to do is set up a very simple trade, okay? Right when that candle closes, you want to look to get in short. So right at the close of that candle, you want to put your stop loss very tight, right above the high of that candle, just like so. And then target, you can typically go around a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 risk reward because you really want to focus on scalping this, okay? We're not looking for a crazy 10R, 5R trade. You don't need that to be profitable with this strategy. A simple, 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1, 2-to-1 will work. So you get in your options, you set your stop loss, you set your target, you walk away, you let the trade do its thing, and boom. Just like that, you would have seen a nice, very simple and easy profit. And you can repeat this across any different stock all the time. Let me show you another example on NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA, same exact thing. What do you notice happen? Okay, this is yesterday's price action. The market opens right here. We don't really see a crazy big volume spike. Now, again, I'll show you an example of right here. We kind of get a small volume spike like so. But what do we notice what happens in the next 5 minutes after? Price just keeps ripping right higher. So we don't want to reverse that. We don't want to short that stock, or we don't want to get puts. But what do we notice right after that? We see a massive volume spike right here at 1020. Okay, this is way bigger than any of the candles we've seen previously, way bigger than all of yesterday's candles. Okay, that is a massive, massive spike. So what do? We wait, and we wait until we see what the next 5 minutes are going to look like, which happens right here. Do we see any sort of reversal? Do we see a red candle form? Do we see it top out? Yes. Just like this, we see a nice reversal. We see it peak at a high, and then price starts to reverse. So we wait for the next 5 minutes to start, which would be right here. We get in as soon as that closes, put a stop loss right above the high, and we can target all the way down here. And the crazy part is this one ended up being the high of day. You could have held some runners, and at the low, it would have been close to a 6R trade, 5.5R trade. A very, very good and easy strategy. Again, using no indicators, using no math, nothing complex. You simply just use the volume candlesticks, and you use a confirmation of waiting 5 minutes after to confirm if the reversal is going to happen. That's why it's super important. Again, right here, if you were to get in on this, because again, we don't see this candlestick here. So this looks like a pretty big spike compared to the last 5 minutes, right around here. But price keeps going, so we don't trade it. We don't worry about it. And that, just like this, you would have had a very good gain. Let me show you another example on Netflix, okay? Same exact thing. Now, sometimes you want to try and pick a little bit higher liquid stocks. You don't want to do stocks like CMG that have kind of very low liquid. It can get a little crazy. Netflix isn't the greatest example, but you can see it still works, okay? Aside from the market close and basically the market open, where do we see is the biggest 5-minute candlestick on this day? Well, it's this one right here, just like so, okay? Which is going to line up exactly with this candle right here. So what do we see? We're waiting. We're watching Netflix. We see this huge 5-minute candle spike, much bigger than any of the previous, again, either 5, 10, 15 candles. And what do we see when we wait 5 more minutes? Well, we see an engulfing pattern. We see a red candle. We come all the way back down. That is a very, very good indication that price may want to reverse. So what do you look to do? You look to get in short right around there, put your stop loss right above the high. And you can see this one actually didn't end up working out. Okay, I'm not just going to sit here and show you that this strategy works 100% of the time, because no strategy works 100% of the time. But we still did get a little bit of a scalp in there. So if you were to modify this strategy a little bit and say, okay, at one point we were up 0.5R. You can say, once we're in about 0.5R profit, I'm going to set my stop to break even. And you would have got out break even, but nonetheless, you can still find a way to scalp this strategy and make money from it. And if you're able to, again, modify it a little bit, maybe you wait for a small pullback to get in, then you could see that you get a better risk reward. And this one, you would have had a nice, decent profit, a little over 2R if you were to catch this. Now, again, you're not going to catch this every time, and it's not going to be perfect, but you can see that volume does indicate a reversal. Okay, just like this, we saw the huge volume spike, we saw the next reversal. Even if you're not using this as your exact strategy, you can use this for other tools. Let's say you were in long on Netflix all the way down here, you can use that as a potential stop loss, right? If I see price come up here, huge volume spike, the next 5 minutes comes down, I may want to get out of my long position because price may reverse even more. So there's a lot of different ways to use this to your advantage. And again, as I said, going back, if I look at SPY, I go to the daily chart, okay? Remember when the market was crashing, everyone was freaking out. How did I know to buy right at the exact bottom? How did I tweet out, today's the bottom, I'm going all in long SPY? And I didn't just call that out. I actually put my money where my mouth is and bought long-term options on SPY on that exact day, which right now I'm up 7 grand, 200%. I had a lot more of these options. I sold a bunch and I got in some hedges as we were approaching all-time highs right around here. Okay. Now, how was I able to do that? I saw a huge volume spike, and it's really that simple. Now, I didn't necessarily wait for confirmation because I was going in this long term, and I figured that, hey, even if we keep dumping even more, a reversal is going to happen soon. If we have all this volume, I'm just going to look to get in. And I got in right at the exact bottom. I called it, and I held for a massive, massive profit. And simply using volume, that's all I did for this. And again, this is a strategy that I didn't just do, but hundreds of other people have done as well. You can see Jason, Chris, Justin did 60K in 3.5 months. Saket, 41K in 2 days. Stan, 48K in 1 week. Sid, 49K in 7 months. David, 25K in 1 month. It goes on and on and on. You can pass funded accounts using this. It's a super simple strategy that anyone can do. And it even works on the 1-minute chart, trading futures. I simply look at on the 5-minute on high liquid stocks, Apple, Nvidia, Netflix, Tesla, MU, like Roblox, a lot of the big name Amazon, Meta stocks. Those are my favorite ones to use a strategy on, but feel free to test it for yourself, okay? Don't just take my word for it. Go into your charts and see what you want to do. I'm sure you'll be happy with using the strategy and adding it as a toolbox to your actual trading. Now, if you did enjoy this video and you want to learn more about the exact strategy I use to be a full-time trader, the same one, because it's not just as simple as volume. You want to add a few elements to it to make it a full, real, bulletproof strategy. That's what I did. That's what all my students did to make, you can see, hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. And if you're interested, you can click the first link in the description. We'll basically handhold you one-on-one to make sure that you're profitable in the next 8 weeks. We've done it with over 1,000 students, and I'm sure that if they can do it, you can do it as well. So click the link in the description, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next video.